if you were to look at the latest season of Invincible and then compare it to the latest season of JJK, I think we'd all comfortably say that the JJK animation is just way better. But what is insane to me is that Jujutsu Kaisen costs around 150k per episode, whereas Invincible costs 3 million per episode. That is a 20 times difference. Yet JJK looks way better. So why on earth is this the case? So first we need to understand how anime is made and then how Invincible is made, because it's basically the same thing, but there is one key difference. So first off, both are 2D, which means that they're all drawn. They're drawn either on paper and then will be scanned later onto a computer, or they'll just be drawn directly onto a computer with something like a tablet. So first you have a keyframe animator. So these are the people who draw the keyframes, as the name suggests. So let's say you have a punch, they'll draw the start of the punch, the middle of the punch, and then the end of the punch. Then once these keyframes are done, you have in-between animators. So these are typically cheaper and less experienced animators who will draw the in-between frames to give it that fluid motion. So it's really that simple, but it's actually super time consuming and obviously super difficult in reality, because you can have 24 frames in a second. So most like really good high level anime scenes will have 15 to 20 just single frames, just drawings, just to show 1 second of anime. Now, both anime and Invincible will use CGI. In season 1, Invincible said that they used about 20% of CGI. Anime does the same for like really important fight scenes. It just makes it a little bit better, but it is a side thing. Again, the majority of it will be hand drawn. Coming back to the difference between Invincible and anime, basically what it is, animes like Jujutsu Kaisen just have way more hand drawn frames. Their frames per second is way higher. I slowed down 2 fight scenes. One's from Invincible, the recent season, and one's from JJK, the recent season. I feel like they're fair comparisons. I thought both fight scenes are pretty cool. And as we watch it, you can see Invincible just has way less frames, right? There's way more happening in JJK. There's way more frame changes, there's way more drawings. And this is why the animation is a lot worse. That's also not to mention things like composition, which obviously also plays a big factor. So that's like stuff like the lighting and just the graphics, which shows like Jujutsu Kaisen do really well, whereas Invincible doesn't do as well in my opinion, and that's why it looks like PNGs a lot of the time. But now you might be asking the question, which is kind of why I decided to make this video, which is anime draws way more frames, right? Therefore that takes way more work, and you would think it's way more costly, but this is not the case, of course, because Invincible has a budget which is 20 times higher. That's what brings me on to the next part, and there is a couple of reasons to explain why that is the case. So first, I gotta mention something that's been beaten to death, and that is the voice actors. Look, Invincible's got a great cast. You've got Steven Yeun, who plays Mark, you know, he's from The Walking Dead. J.K. Simmons, he's from Whiplash, he plays Omni-Man. That's fine, right? They're the main characters. That makes sense. But the more I looked into it, just random side characters who are like top celebrities. For example, the Martian Emperor is Digimon Honsu, right? This is the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Welcome to Mars, Earthman.
Okay, none of you will remember the Martian Emperor, but they got this guy in. Another one is Titan. They got the guy from Green Book. Again, look, Titan comes back, but this is a good actor. And it just gets worse. You got Ella Purnell, she's the lady from Fallout, the main character from Fallout, and she's in the mummy scenes. Like, I can't even remember her character at all, and they just got this like A-list actor. But without a shadow of a doubt, the worst one, which I didn't even think was real when I first found out about this, was for Art, right? Art's a cool character, okay? He's been in all the seasons, but they got Mark Hamill, Skywalker. Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Like, how much does it cost to get Skywalker to do a voice actor, and you get him to do that? Like, I don't understand. Like, you could easily just get some random voice actor, pay him a fraction of the cost, and I don't think anybody would care. I didn't realize that this was Mark Hamill until I looked it up for this video. I'm saying I don't appreciate it, but when the animation is looking like this, I just feel like put the money into the animation. But this all kind of paints the picture. There's like this theory that the main guy, so he's the one who wrote Invincible. He didn't draw it, but he wrote it, Robert Kirkman. He's also one of the executive producers for the show, just likes to work with celebrities. So he's a TV guy. For example, he said in one interview when he was talking about the Hell episode from the recent season, and you know, they were just talking about it, and he said, oh my god, we got to work with Bruce Campbell. It was the best. Now, for those that you don't know, Bruce Campbell is like this big kind of cult horror actor from like a way back when, and he was the voice of Satan. Again, not only does it kind of paint the picture that he likes to work with celebrities and that he's a TV guy, but it's also that he doesn't really respect animation. For example, there's a different infamous clip where he ends up saying this.
Is the long breaks between seasons kill a show?
Yes.
And when you can release a season every year, like it looks like it's going to be going on. So
It's almost like we're doing it how TV was done for 60 years.
Right. But like,
you see, the problem is that he's comparing anime to TV, and you know, it's always been the case that animated shows just take longer. And to be honest, it kind of comes across as a bit of a lack of understanding, because if we put it into perspective, JJK took 2 to 3 years to make the recent season, which was 12 episodes of 20 minutes, so that's 4 hours. The new season of Invincible is 8 episodes of 40 minutes, 5 hours 20 minutes. So it's a lot longer, and they did that in 1 year. JJK took over 2 years to make. So of course the animation is going to be way better. But I will say, like, the caveat to this is, say like for me and my friends, I would much rather wait 2 to 3 years for JJK and it be peak. The animation be so good. But I'd much prefer that than they try and rush it and it ends up looking dog shit. I want the Gojo Sukuna fight to be elite, you know what I mean? I don't mind. I'll be grey by the time it comes out. I'll be happy. But to use a different example, my brother doesn't watch any anime, but he likes Invincible. He said to me that 1 year, any longer than that, he wouldn't like it. And I also don't think that people like him, who don't watch many anime or other animated shows, they don't care too much about the animation quality compared to somebody who does watch anime and watches a lot of animated shows. You also have to think, if you're paying for Prime, which is a monthly subscription, you want the shows to be coming out often. So again, I do get that, and that does have to be factored in. But it is kind of like pick your poison, right? If you're going to do it every year, it's going to look bad, right? That's the reality of the situation. This is also why season 1 looked way better, because that was in production for like over 2 years. Compare that to, again, the recent season, which is the same amount of time, was in production for 1 year, right? That's how it goes. But now lastly, on this kind of difference between costs, I do have to say the elephant in the room is that Japan got slave labor on lock with their anime. It's like legalized slavery. A lot of people have spoken about this, but just for example, my friend literally done his dissertation on this, so I went through it. He said that in average, the average annual salary for a US animator is about $75 US, which is nearly twice the average in Japan. In fact, in Japan, the average animator's salary is in their 20s is 1.5 million yen. That's about $1,100 a month, okay? If you work in McDonald's, you get 2 million yen. That's insane. On top of that, the average monthly hours an animator will work in Japan is 219. That is 40 hours higher than the national average. And it works out to over 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now look, why they get away with this is because mostly, my understanding is in Japan, they just love anime. You know, if you've grown up watching it and reading manga, you want to be a manga writer. So these companies can just get away with literally abusing their animators. Now, also to my understanding that the conditions in the US for animators is a lot better than in Japan. Not to say that it's great. I'm sure there's still crunch time and all of that kind of shit, but it is a lot better. And again, this is one of the reasons why shows like JJK can have a budget way smaller than Invincible. I mean, I am saying that JJK is like, the animation's so good and da-da-da-da-da, and I think it's such a good series. But we also have to remember, I remember in season 2, they literally went on strike. There was tweets coming out that they said that they were being mistreated and they went on strike. So it's clearly not a good place to work at, even if the quality of work that they're producing is insane. At the same time, the animators are getting like whipped in the back. If you did enjoy this video, then please check out my last one. I ranked every single JJK episode based on its 25,000 frame. Click here to watch.